Shabbat Shalom. It's Ebrahimoff, the Haftorah man. This week's Parsha, Tisa. In it, wow, so much exciting things going on. But specifically, the challenge. Moses is up on Mount Sinai. He comes down after 40 days. Those people didn't know how to count, and they abandon him, and they go after other leadership, the golden calf. What was that about? I'll tell you. A calf was a magical thing. If you had a calf, you put in a little bit of grass, you know what you got out? You had horns, you had milk, you had leather, you had the meat. It was a jackpot. So they used to worship this animal. Geniuses. Now we pick a Haftorah, also about leadership of Am Yisrael. But this time, Eliyahu Hanavi. Yes, the great prophet, with the man with the most fantastic stories. Eliyahu, my God, is Hashem, the God of the Jews. And he lived about 150 years after the Beit HaMikdash was built. It said during the time of the Beit HaMikdash in the Gemara, it says that 600,000 people had this skill, this talent, had graduated from Bnei Nevi'im, from the school called the Sons of the Prophets. Yes, practically everybody in your neighborhood could have prophecy. But now the place is crumbling. The state of Israel has split into two, and now it says that there's only 6,000 people that don't bow down to Baal, to worship Baal. I think it's 7,000. So now, like a 100th of the amount of people. Okay, now what? Eliyahu Navi, he wasn't this cool, calm guy. He was a zealot. He stood up for Hashem. He was really, really committed and devoted. So now what happens? Let's back up. Remember a few weeks ago, we read a Haftorah about this widow that was crying over her husband. Yes, the husband Ovadia. He was in the court of the king Achav and his wife, the evil Jezebel. So now we hear a story directly about this man and Achav. Achav is boasting. And he's saying, there is not a deity that I don't worship, and nothing happens to me. God doesn't punish me. I'm the king of Israel. And Eliyahu Hanavi says, oh, really? Watch this. I have the keys to rain. Shut them off. No more rain for 3 years. I will show you who's in charge. I'm a messenger of God, and I will show you that as you talk, you're going to maybe eat your words. So now, Achav and Ovadia are looking for Eliyahu Hanavi. They want to speak to him. There's been a famine, and they're both split up, and they're walking around looking. Eliyahu is hiding out, because he knows Achav wants to kill him. So Ovadia finds him. Eliyahu says to Ovadia, he wants to come see me, he wants to speak to me. Tell him to go meet me on Har Carmel. I'll meet him there. Ovadia goes, you mean I'm going to go back to this king and tell him that I saw you and that I should send him, the king, to Mount Carmel? No way. If I tell him I saw you and I didn't bring him back, he's going to kill me. Ovadia has to listen to Eliyahu Hanavi. And what about to happen is one of my favorite and most fantastic stories of Emunah in the entire Tanakh, all of Navi. It is amazing why Eliyahu doesn't have his own book. This story takes place in the book of Kings, Melachim. What happens? They're in Mount Carmel, and Eliyahu Navi tells Achav, you want to know something? Let's have a showdown. Let's see who the real God is. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei or Baal? You have 450 of your priests, your Nevi'im, and I have my people. And why don't you go and show who the real God is? We're going to take this ox, we're going to lay him on an altar, and I'll take an ox and lay him on my altar, and you guys do your dance and sing and boom, and then we'll see if the lightning comes down onto your ox, and then that will prove that Baal is real, Baal exists. And if that doesn't happen, then let's see what my God does. These guys get up early, the Baal guys. They're dancing around, making noise. Hooah, hooah, hooah. Nothing. They start singing louder. Eliyahu's looking at Achav. Go, hey, maybe you guys should sing louder, that God can't hear you. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Maybe he's in a meeting. And they sing it louder and louder, and they start getting all serious, and they start slicing themselves, part of the pagan worship. It's a nasty scene. Nothing's going up. As a matter of fact, in the Midrash it says that somebody was hiding underneath the ox with a Bic lighter. Just kidding. Light the fire from underneath. And it says that he was killed by miracle, by a snake bite. So nothing was going to work to trick anybody into believing that Baal really was omniscient and omnipotent. And nothing happens. After the middle of the day, Eliyahu Navi says to Achav, "You done? You done with your God? Can I please go now?" So he takes Elisha, his servant, and he goes, dig a trough around where the ox and the altar is. Fill it with water, just in case they think I'm going to start a fire from the draught, that everything's all dry, it's going to catch fire. Pour water. And the miracle that water came out of this bucket. They were good at that. Next, he goes, pour it a second time and a third time, just in case anybody doubts that this is not absolute pure miracle. And then he reaches up to the heavens and he says, Aneni Hashem Aneni, God, answer me. Show these people who the real God is. He was provoking. He was a zealot. He pushed it publicly. Eliyahu, he wasn't afraid. And then suddenly, bam, thunder, lightning, crash, pow, and the ox is on the altar in an ashtray. Finished. And everybody sees what happened. And they drop to their knees. And they all go, Hashemu Elokim, Hashemu Elokim, Hashemu Elokim. That they acknowledged that Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is the God. And they all said, oh, now we know the truth. Turns out, after the Haftorah, Eliyahu murders, slices off the heads of all 450 of these guys. Even though they did their, what he would think, teshuvah, they were toast. They were done. So here is a demonstration of how Eliyahu Hanavi had no doubt, he had total belief in God, that he was willing publicly to challenge that God should show up and make a miracle happen. This is the amazing, unshakable Eliyahu Hanavi, who will be the predecessor to the Mashiach. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the Haftarah.